So say we build from there. Now we want to add just a bit of complexity, a little bit more of what the performance, what the gestures might be able to tell us. What we'll do then is permit the listener to add other people to the scene. But let's start with pairing off again and telling a different narrative. Now for this week, or for this workshop, let's start with the prompt desperation. So again, what's less important is the beginning, middle, and end. And what's more important is to paint a visual picture in the listener's mind. Anything that you might be able to recall. Time of day, year, what you were wearing, what you said, how it sounded, as detailed as if there were cracks in the street. Really try to get back into that moment. Now for this case, in this particular workshop, I would like you all, in telling the narrative, to remove the before and the after. So you're really just giving them a snapshot. You're describing one single moment of the narrative.
I'm just supposed to tell like that one.
Everything that is happening in that one particular moment, everything that you see in your own memory is what you're going to try to relate of that narrative.
So I can't say like what led up to it at all.
Exactly.
Just keep going, just
as if it were a still image.
Okay.
That is what you're going to describe. Okay? Let's go ahead and pair off. Same pairs this time.
So I guess in the moment where I felt like desperation the most, it was I can't tell you what happened before. Alright, so there was a guy that I thought was an undercover cop, but he had like my face planted into the ground.
Okay.
Telling me that I couldn't go anywhere and that he knew that I did graffiti because that's what we were doing. That's the only thing I'm gonna tell you that we were doing.
So basically he restrained you on the floor.
Yeah, so he had my face into the ground.
Yeah.
The reason why I felt desperation is in that moment is because of all the times that I got arrested. I thought that was it.
Yeah.
I thought that I was gonna get time. Yeah, so I was just like scared for my life, and I
Now we have this mental image, and we know that it's associated with the prompt desperation. Now for this instance, Romeo, I'm going to ask you to create an image, but I'm going to give you just a little more permission. What I'd like you to do, instead of creating the gesture, the frozen silent gesture yourself, is to actually place the three of us into the scene and invite us and coach us through creating our own gestures that to you build out the most essential moment of Saint's story as connected to the prompt desperation.
Let me voice out what I need you to do, or do I need to make that keep that at a minimum?
What I would like you to do, and that's a great question, you can give us just the most basic information necessary. So if I need to know if I'm a man, what age, then that is fine. And you might be able to give me just a little bit of information to inform me as to like what I am doing without giving the narrative away.
And how do we know who we are?
Right, so you're gonna build out the scene based on what you think you know. You're gonna make assumptions, but you wanna be able to tell us basically not what the scene is, but what action we're performing. Okay?
Like what feeling am I feeling? Right. What emotion am I feeling?
I would even remove feeling for the time being, and you'll see why. Okay? All right, so let's give that a try, Romeo.
Alright. Can I tell you like your authority? Who like your position, basically?
Yes.
Okay. So you have some type of authority. You,
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So let's see, carry, I'm gonna need you to like lay on your belly. Go ahead, like lay on your belly. right? And put your left arm behind your back. Left arm. And you're gonna be grabbing him like
Right
this.
where you are?
Right where I am, like this. And holding him right here. You're gonna hold him down right there. And Matt, you're gonna come this way, right? And you're gonna go right here. Your hand, though, is gonna be up, like if you're holding him. You know? Like holding him, or sort of, you're more like you're trying to keep him there. You're trying to keep him there. Yeah, you're not trying to pull, you're just there. You know? So you like, it's like you have him already.
Okay,
So
got
you wanna, just grab him, keep him there.
Got
And Carrie, you wanna look his way, you wanna look Sean's way, right? Like, so turn your head his way, and let's say, put your facial expression to be worried, scared. So that's it right there.
Okay.
This is it.
And am I looking at Carrie or Matt?
You're looking at Carrie. You're mainly
Got it.
focused on Carrie, but you have Matt. You're confident with Matt. You grab Matt. You got Matt.
Got it.
You know. So you're just focusing on Carrie because he's the one that you've been following.
Understood. Okay. So we have the scene, and we're all filling out this scene with particular role. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through what we think is happening here, one by one, who we are, and what is going through our mind. So I'll start, for example. I was named authority, and based on what I'm doing, I think I'm accosting Carrie, but also attempting to pin him down for something that he's done, while potentially holding Matt in place because they are, I guess they're friends. I think they're friends. And I'm gonna say that I'm beyond being aggressive. I think I'm probably I rushed up on them, that I ambushed them. Go ahead, Matt.
I feel like my part in this is, I guess, from how it looks, I guess like an accomplice of some sort.
An accomplice of some
Yeah.
sort. Now, what are you feeling right now? What's going through your mind?
I would think, since like the way it's played out right now, I'm more worried about him.
You're more worried about him.
About him, yeah.
And Carrie?
I'm being arrested for something. Yeah. I'm a criminal right now.
What are you experiencing? What's going through your mind?
Experiencing scary. I'm scared right now. Scared for my life. So say it's a racist cop manhandling me right now.
Manhandling you. Okay, that's important to know. And do you think you've done something wrong?
No.
Okay. All right. So we have a lot of information there. Now we're going to go through the same process of attempting to decode what we think is in the story. Saint, I'm going to ask you to volunteer any information, including the before and after, that you feel comfortable, if you wish.
So where that story takes place, that was after lots of arrests throughout my life. And basically, me and my friend, we were in Williamsburg doing graffiti. And like we were doing graffiti for like maybe an hour or two. So we finally stopped a whole hour after we're done, where we're just chilling, posted up on a corner. And I hear some guy coming down the block, like some big dude. And he's like, yo, stop right there, don't move. So with the way that guy was talking, I thought he was a D-boy. Like, I thought he was an undercover. So immediately I'm like, damn, like I have mad spray paint on me, like mad stuff on me. And he tackled me and pressed my face into the concrete and held me down. And he was like, yo, you're not going anywhere right now. Like, I caught you on camera. I know what you did. And keep in mind, this is a whole hour after that happened. So when I'm there on the floor, my friend is like, he didn't even do anything with my friend. Like, he completely ignored my friend. He just tackled me. So I'm on the floor thinking, like, you know, after all those arrests, like, I wanted to get out of that situation because I thought that I was, like, gonna get real time. After all those things that had happened, I thought that was gonna be it right there. So it was just a really scary moment. I thought that my freedom was about to be done.
Now, let me expand this and ask all three of you, now that we've heard a fuller narrative, what does the before and after tell us that the single image does not?
That he's unsure that what authority the person yelling at him is.
Super important.
He's unsure.
I don't know if I just told you right now, which is funny because I keep leaving stuff out, but that guy was just a security guard.
Okay.
He was just a security guard from one of the buildings that I tagged.
So, and we interpret it as the authority being an officer, but that is a super important part, that there was
I thought that he was the
Right.
officer in that moment.
And so the unknown is not something that we necessarily heard, though. And that adds a different level of worry and desperation when the person that's pinning you down, you're not quite sure who that person is. Now, what other information does the beginning and end tell us that the single image does not?
It was spray painting.
The offense.
And I was an accomplice.
And that you were an account. So we know that it's more than, we know that there's a relationship, that there's a friend. But there's also one super important part about what's going through his head that we can't quite sense until we know the before and after.
I was already in desperation from the moment that I knew I was about to be arrested. Like,
Later on in the scenario, other cops arrive.
yeah.
Okay, so that's a very different type of desperation at that point. But also, hear what he said, and I wonder if this was in the original telling. What's running through his mind? Is it just that he's being pushed or pinned down to the ground right now? What else is happening in his head?
He's thinking he's done for, basically. He's thinking. Why? Because he has previous arrests.
Previous arrests. This single image doesn't give us the proper history, the weight of what's happening in his mind.
There's no way that could be represented.
There's really no way that can be properly translated. Now, let's think about this. Let's pull out. Now, Saint, why do you think we're attempting to recreate and go through the internal monologue of those that are creating the scene of a single image versus acting out the total narrative?
You mean versus speaking it out?
Yes. What's the discrepancy there?
I think similar to what I said before about how much can get lost in a story. Stories can go from witnesses to journalists to media outlets and completely transform, and you don't even have the whole history of the person in there. Because if someone was to just be standing there and see my story, they would just see me getting arrested. They wouldn't see me getting arrested through high school for things that I didn't do. They wouldn't see all the things that had happened before to even wonder why I would be scared out of my mind in that moment. So I would think that this is kind of just representing like all the things that get lost, but also being able to revisit it, because it does something to help. Because now I'm like picking up more things in that story that I wasn't thinking about before.
That's absolutely right. And so, while in week one or in the first exercise, we start to uncover the ways that the body actually tells us quite a bit of information, no full narrative can be captured by a single image. Now, think about how that might relate to our experience navigating the world, where the media attempts to paint the story using just one clip, or just one picture. How a still image will often circulate in the media as an attempt to tell the entire narrative. What's so often missing, as you put, is that there's a whole history to this individual, There's an emotion, there's a humanity, and there's personal experience that's just being thrown out the window.